ready. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Dr. Walls and Friends. We are live in the living room because we are all about living our greatest life. I am here with someone who is definitely doing that.
Hello, everybody.
Miss, none other. I know some of y'all are like, oh my goodness, it's her. Yes, it's her. Shekhinah B, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited. So you're my first in-person live since the pandemic.
Well, I'm glad to be here in person. Get to feel you, smell you.
Yes.
Get the energy.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So this is a living room, and we know that you are the queen of the arts.
Oh my goodness. Please don't say that because I can already see. I am personal friends with the Queen of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I'm not her.
Okay. Okay. Putting people right where they belong. Yes. But no, we have to be real about your role within the arts, because not only are you an artist and a multifaceted artist, but you are also an artist advocate.
Yes, I am.
You are also a curator of the arts.
Yes, that's correct.
You are also an educator on how to be effective within the art industry.
You did your research.
Oh, you act like
don't play research. Okay. Don't play like you did your research.
Okay. And for those who haven't done yet, you need to make sure you binge watch her YouTube channel.
Oh my goodness.
All right. There are nuggets galore for the artist. It might say 24 seconds. It might say 35, 44 seconds. Don't sleep on those seconds because there's a lot of knowledge in there.
Yes.
And you are courageous enough to talk about some things and say some things.
Absolutely.
On tape.
Yes.
That a lot of times people are saying behind the scenes or only to a select few, but this is where that artist advocacy is so real and present for you. So now I'm a hush so people can hear what you have to say. And welcome to the audience, by the way.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad to be here to speak on a lot of the issues that have impacted artists, either positively or negatively. I am a big proponent of arts education, and I don't mean just with the discipline of arts, but the arts entrepreneurship and the building of business and the implementation of just business and business advocacy, especially for those of us that are Black, that are women, that are marginalized. We need to understand those basic administrative functions in order to not only exist, but to sustain and to ultimately self-actualize and thrive.
Yes. Y'all heard it, self-actualize and thrive. Now look, coming from an education background and Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
I speak it.
Come on.
Yes, I am.
I heard it.
That is a part of, I actually implemented Maslow's hierarchy of needs in my second book, the Art Economic Empowerment Workbook. And I use that throughout the workshops to allow artists to understand your basic needs have to be met while in the pursuit of your artistic and creative endeavors, and to skip those steps will be a denial of your existence.
All right, let me just pause for 1 second.
Oh, wow.
Anybody who watches any of my shows, y'all already know what notebook and pen, paper, something to write on the caps. She done already started. We 5 minutes in. She done already dropped that at minute 4. All right. So you already know you're going to have to go back and hit that replay. If you are new to any of my podcasts, welcome to Dr. Walls and Friends. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It just costs you maybe about a second of your time to hit that subscribe button. And make sure you have something to capture some notes, because this is going to be a power hour. We done already started in 4 minutes. All right. So now I keep my notebook handy. As guests on the show, that's right. Sip from your Froggy Tea, The Adventures of Froggy Tea and Money.
Yes.
Bunny, look, money and bunny.
Right, money and bunny. I'm here for the money and bunny. It's a beautiful mug.
Yes, thank you. And you may choose from any of the journals that are over there, because we're in class, y'all, and it is important that you take your notes. Now, back to what you go right on ahead.
I can choose now or later.
You can choose now.
Okay.
You go right on ahead. Because we all taking notes here.
My dream journal. like the dream journal.
Yes, with your matching. And
Yes.
here's the pen for you as
well.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, because it's important that we capture our dreams.
Live your greatest life.
Yes.
I'm here for her.
Yes.
And I like a good night of sleep.
Come on. Exactly. And let's talk about your dreams. How did you get to this point of being the artist that you are?
Coincidentally, I never spoke about this publicly. I guess I'm going to say it now.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up as a Hebrew Israelite.
Okay.
So in the first congregation that I grew up in as a Hebrew Israelite, my musical mentors were Alpha Barfield and Tinker Barfield, and actually, most notably Alpha Anderson, who was one of the former members of the group Chic.
Oh,
that was one of my. I affectionately call her Aunt Alpha, Uncle Tinker. And they were my musical mentors at the early stages of my life. And what made that particular congregation very notable in New York City, in Brooklyn, was that the congregation was known for its musicality. Okay. So there were a lot of similarities that I can look at and say, looking back now, like, oh, that does kind of remind me of what I see in the Black church. Yes. So we would just come together and sing. I learned some of the very basic elements of music. Okay. And under their tutelage, they kind of exposed me to music. I didn't even think about music until I was there. And every facet of my life, throughout my life, I just can't, all right, maybe music is there, music is not. And the one thing that now she has passed on, she just passed recently, rest in peace, Aunt Alpha, that she pursued her education. They were big on community engagement. They were very progressive in terms of the empowerment and ascension of women in leadership roles, which was very different from some of the other sects of the Hebrew Israelite community. I'm no longer like heavily enmeshed in the community, but because I was born and from that while living in New York City, that was a part of my trajectory into being exposed to the arts. And then later, I did pursue my education. And when I moved to Philadelphia, that was my reintroduction into the arts. So around the ages of my early 20s, that's when I started to say, I could be a singer. Okay. I actually love curating more than actually performing. Really? A lot of people don't know that, but now it's like, yes.
We're getting all the truth.
So you're getting a lot.
She on the couch, y'all. Y'all know this couch don't play.
It's something about the tingling. So when I came to Philadelphia, I was very staunch on pursuing my education while I was at Temple University, CCP, South.
Al, cherry in the white. We fight for that cherry in the white. Come on.
So while I was pursuing that, I learned a lot about the administrative functions of nonprofit organizations. My degree in undergrad was political science English minor, and that allowed me to kind of navigate the nonprofit sector as an administrator to some programs, primarily education. So pre GED, ESL, I worked with contractors that went into different institutions to teach that. Then I went into another nonprofit organization where we were educating students on how to pursue funding to pay for post-secondary education.
Oh, wow.
So during those experiences, I realized quite quickly that working in the nonprofit sector was something I was going to do, but not with organizations and institutions that were inherently white-led, because although they say that their intentions were to address the innate issues impacting Black and Brown populations, I felt that they were out of touch. Okay. So I then decided to create my own and create an organization specifically, now circling back in the arts sector. Yes. Something that would directly impact positively and assist with the self-actualization of that particular demographic. So working with artists, being an artist has been the greatest joy that I have gotten in probably I don't think I've had more joy than the work that I do.
Mhm.
So coincidentally, I do perform intermittently
Yes.
throughout the programming,
Yes.
but the curating and the allocation of a large portion of our funding going into the hands of low to moderate income Black and Brown creatives, that creates a workforce development within the sector that puts a primary focus on Black artists. So as you saw me at the African American Museum, we're working tandem with a Black institution incorporating Black local artists. So my sound engineer has his own company. We're funneling funds for his company to be able to have jobs. To all of the artists that you saw, from the percussionists, from the African dancers, from the musicians, all had something in common. Coincidentally, we are a part of the diaspora. And each and every one of those individuals were paid to be on that stage.
Yes.
So I just was able to use the platform and leverage those relationships to then continue to, lower the disparities of our community getting access to fair wages and consistent income into our pockets.
I heard the emphasis on paid.
Paid is full. Paid.
I heard that.
We don't play unless we're paid.
Yes, that was very clear. And again, I encourage you, binge watch her YouTube channel because she is very serious about, that's probably why money came popping out when I was talking about money.
Money.
Come on.
Money.
Come on.
Yes. But money with integrity. Money with integrity, because all money is not going to.
The tambourine I will share my tambourine.
Okay.
Yes.
And it matches the house.
I'm saying. See, look at that.
It was meant to be.
Yes.
So yes, I make
sure.
So
no starving artists?
No, we are trying to disparage the starving artist narrative because we don't believe in it.
Yes.
We actually are working to dispel it, disparage it, and end it.
Yeah.
One gig at a time. So that is a part of our educational component. So performance is one element. The educational component is where we work with artists to show them how to start their businesses. The majority of the businesses that we've started under the organization are micro entities.
Yeah.
And to not be confused with or conflated with small business, because the definition of small business as it pertains to the Small Business Administration in our nation is not the criteria that is specified to those in our community. Micro businesses are primarily businesses that make under 100,000, as we define it. Businesses that are Black and Brown led. Majority of the women that we worked with, women led. Also, businesses that are sole proprietors, that are not necessarily employees, but are operating as employees, but are not formally employees. So you have sole proprietor entities that are being managed. So you may have a LLC, but you are the only person running and doing all of the operations to bring in money, to manage it, to leverage it. And that's what we want to make that distinguishing factor. So I've stopped using, as of last year, the term small business and incorporated the term micro business because that directly speaks to the population that we work with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I told y'all, take your notes. Y'all saw me taking notes live. All right. Feel free to put questions in the chat room. We will get to as many as we can. All right, I'm gonna back you up just a moment.
Take a sip
there, you take a sip. Come on.
In my froggy tea and bunny mug.
Come on. Yes. Here's the thing. You said you like to curate.
Love it. Yes.
All right. When you said it, and it is the lyricist in you, the vocalist in you, and the poet in you. What I heard was cure, CURE, hyphen ATE. So in the work that you do, you are curing and you are providing food.
I'm gonna have to write that down.
Okay, let me
hold up now. All right, we're gonna put curate.
I'll share my notes. We ain't cheating here, right? So that is curating what an artist, what you're feeding the public, what you're also feeding the artist.
And we do literally do that.
Yes.
So all of the performances and events, and I tell artists, if you're working with me, if we're doing something together, we got to get fed because I like to eat.
Come on.
And I want everybody around me to eat.
Yes.
Not just monetarily, but literally we try to feed. We do feed. Even when we're doing educational content programming, such as our most recent grant writing workshop, which I taught. And I'm going to be teaching throughout the year.
Fantastic.
So we have
when's the next one coming?
The next one tentatively in February. We haven't secured the date yet. We're waiting, but it should be toward the tail end of Black History Month, which I'm excited. All of our
I'm sure you're booked and busy.
Well, not quite.
There's still some openings.
There's still a few openings.
Okay, so y'all hear she's still available for hire.
Yes. So this
are we not talking about a crinkled, sweaty $5 bill for hire? We're not talking that story.
No, they can add that to the tip jar or something, but as a donation to the organization.
Okay, we're talking real payment for your time, your talent, and what you're bringing.
Absolutely. Yes. And when I started to work in the business as just a vocalist, I noticed there were some issues that everyone else around me normalized and said, that's just how it is. That's just the way it's been. And I just said, so are we not going to change that? We're just okay with that. And I became a pariah. And then it was I'm a diva because I'm asking questions. And I said, well, there were times in my life, and I'm not ashamed to say it because it's true. Being a vocalist is almost similar to being a low-paid stripper. Yes, there is a comparison.
Come on, give it to us. Break it down.
So some strippers, people think that and I hate to use the word stripper. What's the other term? Exotic dancers.
Yes. Which is what I told my mother I wanted to be when I was 8 years old.
If I had the butt cheeks, I probably would have. But
I thought they were women who danced in bikinis and heels. And I loved to wear bikinis. And I was ready to wear some heels. And I got to get paid for dancing for it. It seemed like the ideal job. I didn't know the other aspects of it. I was
literally the other aspects.
Yes.
The other aspects. When I inquired, because I knew women who were exotic dancers and me being a performer, very similar life. One, you're around a lot of people drinking alcohol, especially if you're working the clubs. Two, there have been times when men were very disrespectful, overtly, like just the sexual harassment is real. Three, a lot of times we were paid in cash. There were good days and there were bad days. There were times when you made money and there were times when you didn't make money. There were times when I would go 2.5 hours out of my way, perform till about 1, 2 in the morning, and leave with less than $150, and then have to get back home. And then you're just like, wait a minute, this is not the life. And I heard that similar stories with women who were also in the industry as dancers. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, being a performer is a tip-oriented industry, which a lot of times you're not tipped. So you're relying on the base pay, the integrity of whomever hired you, the circumstances of the venue, conditions, and hope that you have the physical stamina to get the job done and look good while doing it. So that requires a whole lifestyle.
Wow. That was a breakdown in itself. And I really wanted you to go into that because so many times people are experiencing these things, but they can't quite put their finger on it. Right. And it's like, I'm feeling something, but I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know how to express it. And just in that moment when you said the similarities between those professions, and I'm sure other people are saying, yeah, that reminds me, like, as soon as you said geared towards tipping, it made me think about wait staff. Right. You end up tipping them based on how they perform for you as a server.
Exactly. And the venues, specifically, many venues in this area have a predatory nature toward artists. And unfortunately, Black and brown artists, specifically Black artists, especially women, we are at the bottom of the totem pole of consideration. And interestingly enough, a lot of Black spaces take advantage of that. So it's just like, where do you go? Who do you talk to? And why are the conditions this way? So when I said, well, what can we do? Can we just ask for better money? Like, the white band is getting the better money. How come we can't get that kind of money?
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's just the way things have been. I mean, if you could do better, what I was always told by different band leaders, well, if you could do better, why don't you go and start your own band? Why don't you go and figure it out? And at the time, I didn't have the information, the vocabulary, the experience, the know-how, and I was afraid.
Yes.
So I was just like, well, I guess it's just easier just to.
Afraid of what?
Afraid of being shut down, failing, just being faced with hostility.
Yeah.
And one day I just had it. Something in me snapped. And I knew from that day, I said, I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to start my own thing. I'm telling you, I'm going to start my own thing. And I kept saying it. And I said, whoever wants to come with me, you come with me, y'all. And I said, y'all going to look for jobs from me. I promise you. And it's going to be better conditions than this.
Yes.
And I'm not going to play games with your money.
Yes.
So it sounded good to me.
Yes.
But it didn't sound good to everybody else because I didn't have the connections. I didn't have the relationships.
Yeah.
So what a lot of artists get into it's no different than being a traditional employee. And I'm not knocking anyone for having a traditional job. I understand the security that is placed with people who go out and get a job. Yeah, because the wraparound benefits that you get from your employer are insurance for most people, your consistent salary. They take care of the payroll. They pull out the taxes for you. They give you your W-2. They make sure that you're not outside of you making sure you get there and do the job. There is like a security there.
Yeah.
And I always tell people the opposite. I say, well, if you live in Pennsylvania, it's an at-will state. There's no security.
That's right.
So if there's no security in the function of your job, you can be fired for any reason.
Yes.
And unbeknownst to you, you sign on to that employer's benefit package. You get fired tomorrow. Now you're at however many years later, and now you got to go and get life insurance for yourself. You have to go and figure out, because unemployment is not forever. If you get unemployment, if you even have the tenacity to fight to get unemployment. So there are several different factions that I said, I understand the comfort and security in that, but I'm just not willing to just allow them to control my life in that way.
Yeah.
And more like being in a band, the band leader, you got the security of, well, they're doing the negotiations and they're going to just make sure to pay me. And you got to trust that the integrity is there.
Right.
But with all of that being said, if you're trusting them to set your price,
come on,
and you're working,
come on,
how is that fair when you are doing the bulk of the work and they're getting more? I mean, not to say that they don't deserve to get a little bit more, but it's not fair.
Right.
And I had to wait at times, weeks to get my money.
Right.
Where I'm like, well, dang, I thought I would at least have enough money to, eat tonight. I guess I don't have enough money to eat tonight. Those were the struggle experiences that I had. And most artists are not open to tell you this because they're ashamed and they put so many optical illusions about their success that they're not willing to honestly say, I'm broke.
Yes.
I'm broke.
Yes.
I'm struggling.
Yes.
And they'll see you traveling and all the shiny stuff. And meanwhile, they can't pay their bills. They have GoFundMes because they're dying. No health insurance, no business structure whatsoever. And they love being paid under the table, which artists, can y'all stop doing that? But that's a whole nother situation.
Well, we're going to talk. So it sounds like, and I just want to highlight, Heaven Sent Cleaning said facts. Okay. So it is resonating. And I want people to see that Heaven Sent Cleaning Services so they can explore that as an option for themselves.
Okay. Cleaning services.
Okay. Exactly. So it sounds like that warrior spirit kicked in.
It did. It definitely did. That was, where'd that come from? Okay. Wait.
This is a magic office.
It really is. I was like, okay.
Come on. Yes.
So it definitely, I just got tired. I got fed up. And I said, if y'all want to be in the sunken place in this situation, I'm just going to have to climb up out of there. And whoever wants to be rescued, I will have to be the Harriet Tubman of the situation. And for those that know they slaves and ready to be free, we could roll with me and be free. For those that are chilling in the sunken place, y'all go and stay in the sunken place.
So tell me this. So you mentioned, you are changing the narrative of the starving artist.
Yes.
So what becomes the artist's affirmation?
The artist affirmation is one, acknowledging that there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Two, accepting that you have to make a substantial effort and change in order to improve the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Three, saying no. Saying no
Yeah.
to circumstances, situations that are not serving, that are less than appropriate, that are just unideal for sustainability.
Yeah.
Because if you say yes to certain things, then everybody's going to know. And then they all think that they can get you for that price and for that situation.
And I'm so glad that you said that. And I'm hoping my husband will point out this picture. You said that you like this picture.
I do.
Right. And this picture is entitled She Is Me. This is one of his pieces from our Sisters in Harmony collection, where he traveled the globe and took pictures of everyday women with the understanding that she is me. Right. And so for those who don't know, Sisters for Harmony is our registered nonprofit, our 501c3, making sure that women are living on purpose and with purpose.
I'm here for this.
Okay. So now, with that being said, you as the artist, and yes, they are available for sale. So we can talk about that. You can go to Sisters for Harmony, and that's the number 4, sistersforharmony@gmail.com, and you can send your interest and we'll hit you right back. But you looked at other artists with that same she is me, you are me type of mentality.
Yes.
And said, I'm doing this for myself, but I'm also doing this for the collective.
Yeah. And for the culture.
Yes.
For the culture, so that we could change. And that made me want to dive deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this idea that artists, you're so talented, you have to work harder. And the reason why you're not successful is because you're not talented. And that's just straight a lie. That's not true at all. There are artists at every level. There are people making money all over the world, making big money, good money. And why is it that we are not? Because we are willing to accept the circumstances, the status quo. When I asked them, well, where do you see your life? They said, well, I'm going to put together this project, spend thousands of dollars to create a CD, an album, an EP, an LP. And then they'll put it out on these predatory distribution, exploitative, slave charging websites and get less than what indentured servants were making over 100 years ago. And then hope to compete with the larger music industry labels, not realizing that you were going to get 100,000th of a penny.
Yeah.
You are not going to compete.
Say that again slowly, because people think with streaming.
Oh, please.
Come on. Educate. Let them
know.
The
streaming, and if you go to my YouTube channel, I speak very candidly about the levels of streaming.
Yes.
And you won't make money if you think that streaming just is going to deliver monies to you because you put out this incredible project.
Yes.
A lot of artists don't have marketing budgets. They don't have a smart plan of action in order to execute the necessary tools and strategies in order to yield the monies back of the investment that they put out to create these things.
Yes.
And when I asked them this, they're like, well, I mean, it could get me a job. I remember I sat on a panel with an artist and I was really trying not to embarrass this woman. And she said, well, it has opened up doors. I said, and what door was that? The door for the platform. It's taking away ownership. Let's start there.
Yes.
You don't even own it at that point. The platform gets to dictate to you when your music is consumable and accessible. And sometimes it changes. It's just like being on Netflix. You get onto Netflix, there's a movie on Netflix for a certain time.
Yes.
At that point, the movie is no longer there. Now it's on Amazon.
Yes.
Or now it's on Hulu.
Yes.
Or now it's on HBO Max. So if what these distribution systems are doing is saying to you, you signed on and gave us the right to determine our algorithm that we have set and created for the consumption of your music. And now we set the price as to what we think the value is. So if you feel like you're worth a straw penny, then you continue to be with the rest of the chained individuals on the slave chain line and continue to make no money as you are in the red and not even in the black to get to the green.
Right.
and I'll
Right.
stay there.
Not even in the orange.
Not even in the orange.
Come
Not even in the purple.
Come on. Take a sip.
I'll take a sip. Take a sip.
Now, something else that you talk about, and then we're going to shift after this just a tad.
Okay.
But you also talk about the undercutting in the industry.
Oh, you saw that there? You really did your
I
research.
tell y'all, binge watch her YouTube channel.
Undercutting is a real thing. It's
Mhm.
problematic. And I think that's especially difficult with, if we're talking about Philadelphia,
Mhm.
that is a huge issue
Mhm.
where an artist will go to a facility and say, this is my price. This is what I'm offering.
Mhm.
The artist behind you will say, I'll do it for half the price
Mhm.
or less.
Mhm. Mhm.
And let's say the artist already had an arrangement with said venue or
Yes.
space.
Yeah.
Sometimes the despicable lack of integrity of that
Yes.
space or venue will
Yes.
decide, well, we don't care about the previous relationship we had with this first artist.
Yes.
We're just going to take what's affordable to us.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And now that lowers the price for everybody now.
Around.
So now that's
Yeah.
the new price.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some people are just so excited to show the bells and the whistles and the razzle dazzles
Yes.
of performance that they forget that, like, wait, some of us are using this to pay our bills.
Come on.
This is how we live. This
Yes.
is how my mortgage cannot be paid off of smiles and hand claps. It
Mhm.
has to be a transfer of monetary distribution at
Yes.
a fair rate and preferably consistently throughout the year, because I have a mortgage every month. That's 12 months of the year, all my
Yeah.
bills, my insurances. I can't play these games,
Yeah.
these type of reindeer games.
Yeah.
So these prices need to reflect fair compensation for legitimate, fair work.
Yes.
And we need to operate in that space and not just look at it as an artist. And I think when you approach these institutions and venues and spaces,
Mhm.
I got a different experience coming in as a curator versus coming in as an artist that just wanted to
Yes.
be exposed and seen.
Yes.
And shame on any of the venues that expect artists to come out for free for exposure, because exposure, I mean, is not paying anyone's bills for
Yes.
performance. It's just not right.
Yeah.
So shame on all shame on is this
Yes,
shame
right
shame on all the
Right.
venues and institutions and individuals talking about, yes, come and perform an entire show for free.
Yeah.
You need to free the slaves.
Right. And free your mind from that type of thinking.
Exactly. Free your mind.
Right. Because nowadays, I mean, we get exposure all the time.
Right.
With social media.
Mhm.
It just takes a phone and an upload. That's all. So you don't need that type of exposure. Whereas maybe back in the day, there was more leverage in that space.
Mhm.
But nowadays, we have all types
Everything.
of social media superstars because they have promoted themselves and marketed themselves accordingly.
And even in the social media marketing, which the algorithm is very specific.
Yes.
How were y'all feeling when they took away TikTok
Come
for a
on.
hot second?
Come on.
TikTok, you did stop.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So
I feel like that's going to be in a poem.
TikTok, you did stop. But when that happened, I remember years ago, I posted something and I said, guys, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, what happens if social media went away?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
Come on.
Like, why are you not investing into your own web real estate?
Yes.
Where's your websites?
Yes.
Artists have to have websites. Micro businesses need websites. We need to have our own real estate, one, to determine what our prices are. And as a result of the algorithms associated with the so-called music distribution platforms, one, you're fighting against stream farming.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
No, teach.
So stream farming is the notion that, not the notion, it's the action that you take multiple mobile devices that are, let's say you go and buy a bunch of prepaid phones.
Okay.
And now you're streaming a song multiple times every day on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And now the algorithm is cracking down on that.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, multi-million follower influencers, such as Meg Thee Stallion, was caught for doing this, among others. I'm just naming her.
Yes.
A few rappers have been caught because the algorithm has realized that they are utilizing some of the technology in a way that does not demonstrate legitimate organic engagement. And it is reflected in their failed tours.
Yes.
So when they come out and they cannot sell out an arena or a stadium, that is letting them know, wait a minute, where's all these millions of people that were following you and listening to your music when you have to put black cloths over the chairs because nobody's coming.
Wow.
And they're bad investments. And that's why a lot of artists are operating from a deficit spirit, a deficit monetarily reality, a deficit of true artistic talent and spirit and skill. And they're now relying on the AI to create versus true creations, true engagement, and having a real dialogue with the self saying, well, is this really what I'm about?
Right.
That's not really what I'm about. I just thought it was going to make me some money.
Well, I'm laughing because I had 2 AIs for you.
Oh.
See this?
Oh.
Artist integrity.
Oh, I like that.
And artist intelligence.
You better. I don't have to write
those are
down.
2.
Okay.
I said, those are 2 courses you can teach if you're not teaching it already. Because you're teaching it already, but not in a formal learning style space. But this is what you're talking about, because even as you're saying, don't undercut the other artists. You're bringing the quote unquote property value down. You're bringing the artist industry down when you do that. Like, let's be on one accord in this collective and raise it up. In one of your clips, you were talking with another artist, and I don't remember her name, but she talked about why people go overseas and how people value art overseas as opposed to here in the States.
Okay.
They don't call me doctor just for anything.
You have did the research. I had to sip on that. Okay. So yes, overseas, there is a larger allocation of government funding that goes towards the artist. It's not to say, because research, the arts and culture industry in the United States is a multi-trillion dollar industry. This has been something that is proven fact. Now, when we talk about the $1 trillion industry, how do we have struggling artists?
Yes.
Because the manufacturers of the distribution of the art are the ones that are getting the money.
Got it.
Because they control the platforms to which we consume. And the artists are merely the pawns that have created, but have now been owned and exploited by those that are in control of these platforms. So this is why our nation has not. So when we talk about art, there isn't the same level of reverence for it because our government hasn't prioritized. And you can tell what a government is about based on what their priority funding allocations reflect, and art not being that. So how is art a multi-trillion dollar industry, even though the government does not allocate a larger portion of its funds in comparison to other bordering nations? Why is that?
Right.
Well, the answer to that is because we're going to consume it in large numbers. We will consume it. So in film, television, radio, streaming platforms. I mean, a lot of this stuff was free before. Now, if you want the premium access, and now because net neutrality is ended, you are paying for service, for points of access and levels of points of access. Now, even now, as of 2025, where Netflix is raising its price to compete with the other distribution platforms, because now ad-free service, or do you want ads in your service? And now who's benefiting from that? An ad is going to have music, it's going to have actor, it's going to have visuals, it's going to have colors, it's going to have art in it. The commercial could have taken a multi-millions of dollars to create. But what they're doing is prettying and beautifying a product for you to consume, for you to be, have interest to want to purchase and take in. So this is why it is a $1 trillion industry. And I tell artists we need to operate with integrity, but operate as our own micro institution, so that we can actually compete, maybe not at that same level, but to compete, to leverage our lifestyles the way we see fit.
So important. Now, with that, what's your definition of success?
Freedom. So free time, good food. Free time, my time, that would be success for me. I don't think it's a dollar amount, quite honestly, because I want to be able to have the time to freely do what I would like to do more consistently.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm pretty simple. I just want good meals, a great amount of sleep, not this weather.
Yes. Some good travel.
Some good travel.
Yes.
Me and my husband all over the world. Like
Yes.
that is what I need.
Yeah.
So that would be freedom if I can do more of that. So I just came back from Belize. If I can do more of that consistently, without the fear of, well, babe, we got to get back because we got to get back to work. That's success to me.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet. We're working towards that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned that because you mentioned lifestyle.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of times people don't fully sit down and get clear on what is the lifestyle that they desire, the authentic lifestyle, and then create that strategic plan to acquire that lifestyle. Go ahead. What's going through your mind?
I think a lot of times we do what we think we're supposed to do, but not what we feel we want to do.
Yep.
And we assume, like, some people are like, Shekhinah, I think you should really pursue doing the music thing. And I said, look, it'll be a part of my life. But when I was pursuing it, I wasn't happy doing it.
Talk about it.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Didn't love that. Did I have fun times with it? Sure. But what I did love was making an impact in my community and engaging. And honestly, I wish that I could do more of that community engagement, as it not to address a problem, but to continue to further engage and create happy spaces and places for people to really indulge in the arts. But unfortunately, the nonprofit sector in our way is created to address an issue. Yes. Address an issue, deal with science, religion. So the issue that we are addressing is creative workforce opportunities that are sustainable and addressing the lack of knowledge of entrepreneurship, even at the rudimentary stages of development, and changing our language and vocabulary in pursuit of that. I really would love to be able to indulge in the arts, creating and producing more activities and events for our community to have access to, because I see people are very happy when they're engaging in it, like Kwanzaa. Who doesn't know the Kwanzaa event? Yes. I mean, I live for that. So hand selecting those people's, like, I think you'd be good here in this position here. And I think we need to have those lights back there. I love that. Okay. I love that. Yeah. And I wish that I could do more of that, but not in the sense of, well, we're doing it because we want everybody to get paid. Of course, we want everybody to still be paid, but more so because we just can. And there's more opportunities to do it at such a bigger scale. So hopefully to have more of those experiences. That probably wasn't the answer to your question. It was
the answer that needed to be given. And that was the answer that your soul needed to release.
Yes.
So she on the couch, y'all.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
So now, what are you doing now? What events are you doing in the process of? What should people be looking forward to?
Oh boy. There's a lot happening right now. I'm in the process of doing the 3rd annual Juneteenth Wine and Arts Festival. Our organization did the first Juneteenth Wine and Arts Festival in the world.
Okay. And the name of your organization is?
The Women's Coalition for Empowerment. So the Women's Coalition for Empowerment is a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based organization. We work to support artists with education, uniting artists, empowering them through programs. We primarily work with low to moderate income creatives and assist them with basic entrepreneurship, jobs in the creative workforce sector, and just identifying how to improve upon the conditions of the creative sector.
Okay.
And the advocacy.
That's huge. That's huge.
So yes.
So you all looked and said, we need some wine and some Juneteenth.
Well, what had happened was, and I'm just gonna be honest, I am not an avid wine drinker myself. But there was one of my associates mentioned that there should be something because Black wineries make up less than 1% of wineries in the nation. And I said, why is that? And apparently being a wine business is a very expensive business to have. And it's pretty volatile to smaller wineries, which I found. So we were trying to figure out a way to amplify the existence to wrap around the support of Black wineries for the Juneteenth celebration. And what I found, it was hard to do. Super hard. You're trying to get professionals to come together on one accord. So I said, well, let's also incorporate other Black businesses and bring in some of the arts elements in celebration of Juneteenth. They said, well, how does that go with Juneteenth? And I said, well, we are emancipated. We still in an emancipation state. We are going to be in a continual evolution of emancipation. There are levels to the emancipation because when the emancipation happened, was it 1863? And they didn't find out till 1865. So That's right now, and considering the new administration in this here office, we are about to be set back to the plantation is where he's trying to take it. So there needs to be a collectivize. There was a funny part in the movie Willie Dynamite. He said, you've got to have vision, Willie. Collectivize. And when he said that, I said, all right, now I know that was a pimp talking that looked like a vampire. But what he is saying
to me.
It spoke to me. Yes. And I said, okay, how can we get together with Black businesses and work through whatever issues we have to come together on one accord to support it? So what are the obstacles that affect our issues as Black professionals? We got to operate with integrity with one another. We don't. A lot of times. And I know someone, we can't talk about Black business. No, we need to talk about you so that you can improve. And if you cannot deal with that type of accountability, you are not ready to self-actualize, move forward, and create the utopia you say you want. You know, not just a dream deferred, but actual reality you say you want to have. And when we talked about it, I said, okay, one obstacle, let's cut out any vendor fees. We don't need vendor fees. So I said, all right, let's work with institutions that support what we are doing and sponsors that will support the cause. So that was, the job to like move forward and connect and leverage the relationships for the support of the businesses. So we've done it for the last 2 years. It has been successful. We've had over 2,000 people come out just to one event. And the vendors and by the way, the vendor fees, there are no vendor fees. The vendor application is still open until I believe the end of next month. So if you are a Black winery and you can and you have to have the paperwork. Because a lot of businesses.
You mean my moonshine in the back ain't gonna work?
Moonshine in the back ain't gonna work unless you are registered and licensed to do that and sell that. What we have come across is a lot of people operating business-like, but not really trying to engage in business. So they don't have general liability insurance. I don't understand why that is. They are not registered with the state to have, so that's a part of it. They're not registered, and that's a part of what our integrity building in entrepreneurship. So the expectation is, look, we're waiving the fees. Keep all of what you sell. We don't even want a cut of anything you sell. So keep it and sell it, but we just want you to operate in realness.
Take that money
and legitimacy and put it into your actual business so that when we report to our funders, we can say legitimately the footprint of this organization is to hit the businesses, the micro businesses of the Black and brown people that reflect the culture of Philadelphia.
Y'all know.
So when I mentioned this to the people, folk were upset.
Really?
Folk were upset. Well, I mean, like, let's start here. Number one, it costs $125 to start a business in Pennsylvania. Your EIN is free. This is something that I have done and shown. My book the Art Economic Empowerment Workbook for anybody that signs up for any of our Art Economic Empowerment sessions. You get a free downloadable copy of that book, and it goes through the basic process. This is something that could be done in 15 minutes. If we're ready to be real with ourselves. But people don't want to do that.
Yes.
They don't want to do that. So they want to operate as, Shaka Zulu Emporium. But then when it's time to write the check to Shaka Zulu Emporium Productions, it don't exist.
Right.
It don't exist. So we can't write a check to you. We can't buy. You only have a Cash App only operation, which I'm not opposed to Cash App, even though it's not protected by the FDIC. Let's go there.
Let's talk about
it. The point is,
yes,
you are not operating to effectively access the resources that you may be entitled to.
Yes.
So we are not going to co-sign a half-stepping, fetching person who is not ready to move with the revolution and the evolution of Black business.
Revolution and evolution.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on. Go ahead.
So if you are not ready to operate in that space, go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
And you still got time, because the Corporation Bureau, Pennsylvania's Corporation Bureau, has made it super streamlined and easy to do so. And we have been telling people, point here, BOI, please do it. It's free to do your BOI application, submit it. Nonprofits, the state of Pennsylvania, you are free. You are exempt from the BOI application process. However, the state
BOI stand for?
The business, what is it called? FinCEN. So it's the Financial Enforcement Department, and it's for businesses and organizations to demonstrate a level of transparency to the federal government.
Okay.
This has been instituted, and I know some of you are like, well, they said they put it on pause with the Supreme Court. The application is free to do. And if you are a legitimate business and you are hoping to compete to get some of those business grants that we teach you how to do for free, you be eligible for them if you were operating with the appropriate integrity and truth. And a lot of people are not ready for that.
Yes.
So they're doing things that they say they want to do, but they're not really ready to do that.
Yes.
They like the idea of saying, I'm a boss. I hate that term. That term is so rooted in just, I don't like the term boss. That's what they call somebody on the plantation.
Yes.
Now, if you're trying to be an effective leader with leadership qualities, then you would take your own self-accountability, take that inventory, and actually file the application with less than 10 questions, put the $125 into the state, and then you file it. EIN is free. And then you have your business and open up a bank account under the name of your LLC or business, which very simple process to do.
Yes.
People are not interested for something. I don't understand that.
Go and sip to it. I told y'all. If you haven't subscribed yet to Ask Dr. Walls and Friends, just hit that subscribe button. I've already told you, make sure that you binge watch her YouTube channel. You see her name is spelled right underneath mine. That's how you find her on YouTube. All right. There is so much knowledge and information. Be sure to share this video with others, and you definitely want to go back and hit the replay. Social media, websites. How do people need to follow you? I done already pushed YouTube. Where else do they need to go?
They need to go on thewce.org. So that stands for the Women's Coalition for Empowerment. Also, ShekhinahB.org, ShekhinahB.org. The Juneteenth Wine Arts Festival is happening on June 14th. Okay. So the Saturday before the actual Juneteenth holiday.
Yes.
It is free admission for people to attend. If you want the wine glasses, that is $20 now, $30 at the door. Okay. We are going to have food vendors. We're going to have a fitness instructor, which is Fit Man Performance. My husband is going to be doing challenges. And if you can complete the challenge, you get free product. We're going to have some resource vendors. We haven't finalized our full list of vendors, but our vendor application, which is free, is open. There are no vendor fees. Also, we have another event.
And what type of vendors are you looking for?
We're looking for, that's a good question. So we're looking for those that have products, food, not hot food vendors. So,
like cakes, cookies,
juices, clothing, merch. If you're selling wares, candles, art, those are the type of vendors that we're looking for.
Okay.
Those that are legitimately registered with the state of Pennsylvania that do have general liability insurance. We also are seeking, we're actually almost at the capacity for our artists performers. So we do have some performers. We're almost at capacity. So there are some performers. Please send an inquiry on the website, thewce.org. We have a concert happening on March 13th for Women's History Month. It's called Jazz Fit for a Queen. The tickets are available for all of the above. If you follow me on Instagram, the WCE Inc., or I am Shekhinah B on Instagram and Facebook. If you hit the link in my bio, it goes to the link tree. Everything is available. It's touch and grab at this point.
Very good. Very good. And where will that concert take place?
That's going to happen at the Settlement Music School on Queen Street at, where is that? That's South Philly.
Okay.
South Philadelphia. And that is going to be a concert. I have some incredible headliners.
Are you able to drop some names at this point, or do you have to keep it silent?
I can't drop the name yet. I'm waiting for the contract for one other coalition, but can't drop the names yet. But I will say it is a concert that you don't want to miss at a very low price. The tickets have already been on sale, so $30. Early general admissions. Day of is $35, and we also have a streaming online ticket. So all proceeds from ticket sales will go toward the general operations and artistic programming for the Women's Coalition for Empowerment.
Okay. And so, and the Women's Coalition for Empowerment, it is a registered
501c3
nonprofit.
Correct.
So people who are listening now, if they would like to just go ahead and make a donation,
yes,
they can do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So they just go to the website, they'll see a donate button.
Yes.
Okay.
And for those that are seeking about information on our organization, we are listed publicly on the IRS's website. So you can look us up to determine that we are legitimately a 501c3, all of our determination documents and our 990s. I need for the IRS to do a better job at listing our updated 990s, but that's a whole nother story for another episode.
We're going to have a sip to that. All right. Anything else that you'd like to share with the people? I told y'all this was going to be a power hour.
Yes. We are bringing back our Creatives Chat series that is held at the Rotunda. We always do catered food. All of it is free. We do panel discussions, a little bit of Q&A. Sometimes we incorporate live music, and it is available. The dates will be listed toward the end of this month.
Okay.
So if you follow me on social media, make sure you pay attention to the flyers and the links that will be dropped in the very near future. And somebody's been asking me to put the full video of the most recent performances. I did do a highlight reel for Kwanzaa and for New Year's Eve. So I guess I will drop some clips and some highlights of both coming soon.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask her to sing today, y'all. Oh, unless you want to.
Oh, I did bring my mic and speaker, but I wasn't sure.
This is what I'm talking about. You show up, you stay ready.
I do. But if you really want to see the show with the razzle dazzle, follow me on the aforementioned social medias, ShekhinahB.org, the WCE.org /events, and find out where you will see me perform next.
I love it. I love it. Now, here's the deal. I could have had you on Planner's Knowledge because you have some books.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned one.
Yes.
There's another book.
Take Charge.
And what is that about?
So Take Charge is about experience. Take Charge is a book that I wrote about setting boundaries as a creative, because that was very difficult for me in my early stages of development. I wanted to ensure that artists are acknowledging the types of relationships that we are building, whether they are transactional or transformational. And through my journey of going to therapy, I started to exercise better boundaries. I lost a lot of friends. And that book kind of goes through the steps. And within the book, there are interactive exercises where you could determine where you lie in your life,
Yes.
and how you can improve upon the conditions, or if you're at that stage of life, at least acknowledging that you are at a certain level in life that's positive for you. But that was something that I found myself and several other artists having hard time with. One, saying no; two, giving ourselves time to heal, and giving ourselves grace.
Yeah.
And also acknowledging the types of relationships that we have. I realized I had a lot of transactional relationships, very few transformational relationships, and people only wanted to be around me because of what they felt that could do for them, versus actually building a interactive, like reciprocal relationship.
Yeah. Come on, y'all. I know some of y'all right. Yeah, she said transformative relationships. She needed more of those versus the transactional relationships. And that's a note for people to start making a list of who's on your transformative relationships list and who's on that transactional list.
And I didn't have a problem with the transactional list. Just don't masquerade as a transformative relationship when you just really want the transactional.
And
because
don't
that subscription
masquerade,
is different.
Don't masquerade, and don't be disillusioned. You too don't be putting it on that other person.
And that's something I did struggle with. And I was like, oh, they were telling me the whole time they just wanted that.
Come on.
Oh, I didn't realize it, but now I know.
Yeah, exactly. So we probably have to have you come back on the Planner's Knowledge podcast and talk about your book some more.
I would love that.
So that would be fantastic. Y'all, I could have had her on so many different spaces. I said, we're going to put her on Dr. Walls and Friends for now so we can talk about the totality of who you are, not just the segments of what you do.
Oh, that's deep.
Come on.
You sure your viewers want to see that?
Yeah, they want that. They have to.
They have
to.
Well, there it is.
Right, because we need models. People need to know that it is okay. And we don't want to be defined. We are not what we do.
Right.
Right. We have roles that we play in different parts of our lives, but there is the core essence of who we are. And that's what is needed.
I agree. I have to agree with you there. Can't argue there.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to leave with the people before we shut her down for today?
Oh boy. I guess you can visit please visit the website, thewce.org/events. Tickets are available for the Juneteenth Wine Arts Festival. General admission is free, and it's a wine festival, but it is open to the whole family, but only 21 and up can consume the alcoholic beverages. IDs will be checked at the door for those that are purchasing those adult wine tasting glass tickets.
Right. The adult juice.
The adult juice. Yes. The adult juice.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Oh, you're welcome. It was absolutely wonderful. We knew it was going to be fantastic.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, where are we going with this? But I hope you guys are able, if you're available and you're not traveling around the world and all. Yeah. But I hope you guys are able to come to the Juneteenth Wine Arts Festival, and I don't know, maybe interview some people. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fantastic. All right, y'all. Y'all know I love a good interview. Look, so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
When we saw you at the Kwanzaa event, my husband beeline, he was like, oh, we got to get her for the show. And I was like, babe, but he couldn't even hear me because he was beelining. He was like, oh, I got to get to her. So thank you for agreeing to be here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. If you have not subscribed yet to Ask Dr. Walls 525, just make sure you click that button. As you can see, this wonderful guest here is one of many, and she'll be back. So you do not want to miss the notification when it pops up and she's coming back. Be sure to follow her socials as well, and the organization. Support it as you can. Every dollar helps count in order for her and the others to do the work that needs to be done in this world. We are also a registered nonprofit, Sisters for Harmony. You can drop $1 or more in there as well to help us continue to do the work that we do. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. And as always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. See you next time.
Bye.